The crisis in the eastern of the Congo has been going on for decades. It's not going to be solved in 24 hours. What is clear is that it will not be solved through military operations by different governments, by different militias.
Humanitarian response to halt is irresponsible and dangerous.
This morning, the Secretary-General spoke by phone in two separate calls, one with President Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and then with President Paul Kagame of Rwanda. Obviously, they discussed the ongoing situation in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In his call with President Kagame, there was also a special emphasis on the need to protect civilians in that area. Also tells us that last week, intensified hostilities in Menbij forced 25,000 on the ground. Obviously, as you can imagine, the situation in Goma remains tense and rather fluid. M23 forces, we are told, are inside the city, and UN peacekeeping personnel and troops have largely been forced to shelter in their bases. Medical facilities in Goma are reportedly overwhelmed, and essential services have obviously been disrupted. Currently, as far as we know, the M23 forces control the airport, and there are real risks of breakdown of law and order in the city given the proliferation of weapons. Children were among the patients receiving care in the hospital's emergency ward. Colleagues also report that protests in Kinshasa over the ongoing situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo have turned violent, with demonstrators setting fire outside of UN premises, both the peacekeeping and some of our agencies, as well as targeting several embassies. Looting has also been reported in Kinshasa.
Comme l'habitude.
Yeah.
With regard to DRC and does the Secretary-General and UN in particular.
For its part, our colleagues at the World Food Program tell us that access to food in Goma has been impacted. They remain focused on supporting the 7.1 million people most vulnerable, especially the women, men, and children. They also aim to resume delivering assistance as soon as circumstances allow. Airstrikes were reported in Tulkarm, resulting in further fatalities. Since the beginning of the operations in Jenin, 18 people have been killed in both governorates. The Secretary obviously discussed the situation in the DRC, and he's been very clear, both publicly and privately, on the need for Rwanda to cease support to the M23 and withdraw from the DRC. Well, I mean, as I just told you, the Secretary-General spoke to...
How does the UN think they can be helpful in this situation?
We welcome any immediate help, though there is, as I said, a very well-established political process, the Luanda process. We want the parties to recommit to that, and efforts by countries in the region and beyond should be to push in that direction.
Did he ask the president of Rwanda to pull their troops out of Goma?
Otherwise, I will release you, and you will release me, and we shall be free.